20 years since we got a rock record that changed the landscape of music around the world. And to commemorate it, Evanescence are bringing their Fallen tour to sold-out shows around Australia. And we are so lucky to not only have the front woman, Amy Lee, in the studio, but new bassist and Aussie, Emma Anzai, in the studio. G'day, mates.
Woo!
Hello.
Hi.
It's good to have you here. I think last time we were chatting over Zoom and then coming out of COVID, nobody spoke to anybody anymore. It's nice to be amongst it, I guess.
It is. It's very good. It's wonderful to be back here. It's been too long.
Yeah. And first of all, I'm glad to see you've seen the error of your ways and added an Australian to the band.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Tell us about yourself, Emma. What's going on?
I'm pretty excited, first and foremost, to be doing this. Really excited. We've known each other for many years.
Yeah.
And so it feels kind of serendipitous. So, yeah, it's really cool.
Formerly of Sick Puppies, did you guys know each other from back in those early Evanescence days? Or how did you guys get to know each other?
Yeah, that's how we first met, was being on tour with them. She's still with them, actually. She is just a very hard worker.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah, we met way back then, and honestly, like, always, for me at least, like, always dreamed of one day maybe we could be in a band together, like a side band or something. And then it finally was this time where it all worked out, and Tim has been our bass player he was our bass player for 16 years, and he switched to make room for Emma. So he's on guitar now, which he's loving. It's like changes it up for him. He's like enjoying it and like, oh man, this is what I really wanted. It's my original instrument. And now we get to have Emma. We feel whole.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. Do
Yeah.
you feel like there's a pressure now, though? First shows in Australia are a part of the band. I got to perform.
Oh, well, it's been a long time. So more than pressure, I think just feel excited. You know what I mean? Like, because I grew up, watching bands here and getting into music here. So now it's like this beautiful moment of just coming back and playing these great venues. So I'm just excited.
And what's it like for you coming back, Amy, to play in Australia after so many years and COVID and all that stuff again?
It's so good. We've just... It's hard to sum that up in a quick. It's a radio interview. This is a milestone year for us. It's 20 years since Fallen. So there's been a lot of like looking at everything as a whole. And there's so many things that are full circle. Actually, Emma being in the band is one of those things. But when you come back to a place where you've had memories before, it also becomes about all the time in between, all the things that have passed. Each time we come as sort of, not to get all sappy, but it's like you said, go, wow, this is your life, and some things will never be the same, and some things are so much better than they ever were before, and you just feel, I don't know, I just feel really grateful. I think of our fans when I come here.
Awesome.
So coming back, and last time we were here was at the Sydney Opera House, well, obviously not in this town, but we were doing our orchestra tour. And that was beautiful and different and challenging and so special. We'll never forget it, but we're really excited because it's been a long time since we've come here and put on our rock show. And I feel like, like anyone would always say, but for real, like we're putting on our best show.
I want to talk about the history of Evanescence, obviously one that has quite an interesting story.
Yeah.
Almost feels like it could be repurposed as a HBO show for those of you playing at home. It's very serious, lighthearted at times, yes,
Right.
but serious in other times.
Yeah.
Who would you want to play you on a HBO show about
man,
Evanescence?
that's hard. Billie Eilish.
Not bad.
Who's an actress?
I was going to say Charlize Theron.
Ooh.
I was watching Aeon Flux last night, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, she had the black hair. And
That's a movie I have not thought about in like 20 years.
yeah, it was on last night.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
All right. Well,
Claire Danes.
Let's go over
Claire Danes.
interesting.
That's my choice. I had to think about it.
Let's go over the history a little bit. The embodiment, you guys, of musos who work hard, get their music out there, and people just came because the music was good. When you started, you were signed to Wind Up Records, and you're like, all right, we're going to do this big career thing. It's going to be amazing. And then all of a sudden the stop sign's put in front of you for 2 years.
Right.
Yes, that's tough for you, obviously. But do you ever think back to those years now, like with a bit of a fondness and like, oh, wow, it was the last 2 years of your anonymity?
Oh, it was such a good thing. We wrote Bring Me to Life in that time. I think, when you're a kid, and by the way, I was a kid. I was not. I was a teenager when we got signed. And you think in some ways like everything, and you really don't. It's a difficult balance though, because you have to hold on to the things that you believe in, and you have to hold on to the things that matter as an artist, But at the same time, you have to listen a lot and learn, because there's a lot to learn when you have no experience being in the industry, or even live shows. We'd only played a handful of live shows. It was like we're still putting the band together. So getting signed and then having to wait for 2 years meant really getting some important stuff done, and gelling the sound and all of that, and learning some hard lessons as well, of course. But.
And somebody who made a lot of records in their bedroom, playing around with gear and stuff. Do you remember that feeling of walking into the studio for the first time, and just almost being a kid in Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God.
Totally. Yes, it is just like that.
Was there anything that stood out? Was there anything I have to try that or I have to play with that?
I grew up around radio. My dad is a radio man. Had a morning show and all that for all my growing up. So I'd been around it. Yeah. I'd definitely been around studios before, but to go to Los Angeles and be in a legendary recording studio with pictures on the wall of people, Michael Jackson, Prince, whatever that you looked up to forever. It's like, wow, is this really happening? We better do good.
Do you miss those days of almost having the box to play in though? Because you're got so many restraints. You have to think of things in a certain way.
COVID was so a horrible and sad disaster. But as an artist, there was something good about having limitations. We had to find ways to create that felt like the first time again. And I think that there's some magic in that spirit that was really captured on our last album, The Bitter Truth, because it wasn't like we could just go into any recording studio and do it like we always do, drums first, bass second. It was no, we got to think this out. We're not together. We won't be together. And then when we do get together, we have, to quarantine, and it's just different. And when you have to we all got a little bit more tech savvy too, because of all the file sharing and working that way. I don't know. It also made us sort of want it more. It's we need this. We could just sit this out, but who knows? This could be the end of the world. Let's put everything into it. So sometimes I think actually limitations, not in a way that's you're not allowed to do this, but you have a map of what you're trying to do can be a really good thing.
Well, is you guys are obviously here to play Fallen, so we're going to talk about the record. When was the first time you heard the songs off of Fallen?
Actually, I remember it very vividly, and I told you this when we were on that call. I was watching, I think it was MTV something or other, and I was in Sydney, I was at home, and I saw the video, and I heard the song, and I was because that was roundabout when I was starting to play music and stuff, and I remember thinking that is a fantastic idea, that your voice over that music was beautiful, perfect. I hadn't heard it before, and it was bringing me to life, and it was just a really, cool moment.
Funnily enough, the first thing I remember of that song is getting vertigo for the first time in the video clip with the guy on the side of the building, and for some reason I had nightmares about it for weeks, but I love this song. Bring Me to Life is obviously, though, a very important song in your band's history, and one that's had, again, a bit of a history behind it, but you re-released it with synthesis, and that was you brought it the orchestra, and there's obviously now it's got a bit of a different feeling to what it did originally. Where do you kind of look at it now? Because I knew you didn't like it for a little while there, right?
That's hard to say. I'm so grateful that we've had more than one hit. I'm so grateful for what happened in our initial beginnings. There were plenty of obstacles for us, of course. I didn't want the rap, all that stuff, but I think a lot of that was just fear of people not understanding who we really were. When you are going to have your first song out the gate, have a guest vocalist on it and have something that's a departure from your sound, that's scary. Because what if, that's what people expect and they either don't like it and they don't listen to the rest of your music, or they love it, but they don't want to hear anything else because they feel like you tricked them and that they just wanted that one thing. So I had a lot of anxiety in the beginning about just people understanding my art and vision and what we wanted to be. But after we got over that moment, it is such an asset. Two things: to have a song or songs that when you when you play them at your show, everybody's going to be singing along, and they're your songs. It's not a cover song. That's priceless. But then also, it's actually been a really cool thing at this point in the career that we have a song that's our hit that has a part that anybody that we're playing any show with that's awesome can come up and duet. So when we play these festivals and, Papa Roach is there, or highly suspect is there, whoever's there and is like, hey, you want to do the song? Yeah. And we don't do the rap when there's not something. I do it.
I was going to say, have you ever done, like, how confident are you with the rap?
I'm great at the rap. I wrote the rap. I got the rap. I can totally rap. I actually think it's really empowering to do the rap because, like, it's not like we did that thing, but I got it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not screaming, wake me up. It's like the rap in the bridge. But it's great, too, because, the fans are doing that. It's very community. And that's what the song really feels like to me, is about this history and togetherness and our story, as a band and for me as a person, but between the fans and us and our relationship with the music.
It's interesting you brought up vision, because I think that's probably the most important thing about the entire album. You had a vision that literally nobody could see. And obviously people really were attracted to it. But when people are offering you money from like the church and stuff and they're going against your vision, like, do you think that if you sold out that your career would have ended at that point?
No, I would definitely not be doing it anymore if it was like that. Like, and I think that there are some people whose mentality is more about do whatever it takes to make it. And that's just not my style. It had to be for love.
Yep.
And that is sometimes hard. When things are hard, especially when there's turmoil within the band or really, really difficult with the label stuff, that when it gets really hard, it's hard sometimes because the easiest thing really would be just to walk away and go, you know what, we did great. Like, let's stop. But when you can overcome that, for me, it has always been because I am so passionate about not just the music that we've already made, but music I still want to make. And we've always taken, a lot of time between albums. We get a little bit of crap for that. I don't care. Quality over quantity. Every time I have to let myself imagine, okay, what we've already done is great. I don't have to do this. Like, if it's not fun, if it's not inspired, if it isn't something that is given us life, then let's not waste our life doing it, because we spend a lot of time doing what we do. We live on the road. I'm away from my 9-year-old right now. But it's such a blessing when you love what you do. Like, that's what art has to be. And I think that, I hope that, and I do feel that the genuineness of what we do is what really has been the thing that has carried us through all these years with our fans.
One of the most genuine songs you guys released is My Immortal as well. That just sounds like it speaks directly to your soul.
Thank you.
Is that how you feel about it all these years later still? Or like...
That's the song I went and really hated for a while.
Wow.
Just so sick of it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like the recording, there's 2 recordings on Fallen, and the main one that's within, the track listing is a demo from when I was a teenager that we did at like a recording studio in the middle of the night, like in Arkansas, on a bad sounding keyboard. And my voice is just like not all the way grown up yet, and all those things. And we made this other beautiful version that's on the record too, that we did it after we'd had a couple years and knew what we were doing and had a real producer and and it's my favorite, but it's the one that I don't hear as often, and it always pissed me off. Like, I can't believe I'm listening to this demo, because the label just loved the demo so much. Like, there's magic in the demo. Maybe they were right. But that too. So I went a couple years without playing that song.
Yeah. Well, both those songs were important in the release of Daredevil in 2003. And I'm not sure if you've heard that there are rumors that people from that Daredevil movie are going to be showing up in the new Deadpool film.
I have heard that. I did hear that.
Have you? Or is that because you've been contacted by someone?
No, I heard it because I saw a lot. We were like trending or something, and I was like, "Am I trending? What did I do wrong?" It's always like, "Oh crap! What did they find out about me?" No, and everybody was just like saying that they would like. For like, if Electric comes back and it's not with an Evanescence song, I'm going to be pissed. And I was like, "Oh, that's great."
Well, that was the thing that really built up your fan base in the first, like really putting it on the world stage.
Exactly. So. Yes, that's right.
Going Under, an Australian favourite. Why do you think we love that song so much? Do you know?
I thought you were making a joke.
Well,
Going down under. I thought that's what you meant.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, really?
I thought you meant that too.
That's the version we sing when we're down here.
Or maybe that's why we love it, and that's the end of the question.
They're like, "Oh, good, they're coming."
Call Me When You're Sober. Your sisters sang back up on that when you were recording.
Both of them, yeah.
Was it hard? You're, again, a person with a clear vision. Was it hard to be like, that's not good enough?
Oh, well, I grew up like, I love my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the older sister by kind of a lot. So I was the big sister, but I was also kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what the word is. They were like my kids. So I loved playing with them. I loved singing with them. We used to sing a lot, and they both have beautiful voices. So no, it was just a really fun excuse to have them come out to LA and get to like see the studio. They met Justin Timberlake. He came in and listened, and they were like minds blown. That was a fun experience.
Did you ever listen to Arctic Monkeys, Why'd You Only Call Me While You're High, and go, hey, these guys stole my idea?
No.
That came out after you.
I better go listen to that.
And Wasted on You, mate, came at such a great time. We've talked about COVID a little bit, but it's an anthem that the world needed, and I feel like it's the perfect song that you can head bash along to in a mosh pit when there's people just sweating around you.
Yeah.
Like, what was that the intention when you went in writing that, or?
I rarely write with intention.
Okay.
It really was, it was a little bit of a self-challenge writing-wise. This may only be interesting to a nerd or a musician. But sometimes I can record. I'm the engineer for myself when we're making demos and stuff. So playing with loops and recording in Pro Tools and making layered vocals and all that stuff. It's really fun and inspiring to have that tool. But also, you can get really locked into a demo because you start playing with production stuff when you don't even have the words or a chorus yet, and then you get really glued to things that don't actually really matter yet, and it's better to focus on really the core of what you want to say. And I'm learning that. I always want to keep learning. So I remember I had the chorus idea happening in my head, and I was about to go lay down, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I am not going to record anything until I have a complete chorus, lyrics and everything that I'm sure about, and then I'll make the song around that. And I just remember just sitting out on my porch and singing it a bunch for a few days and finally being like, okay, I'm ready. And that's how the song starts, with just the chords and the chord progression and the chorus. And then, then I brought it to the band and we made the rest of it together. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a little challenge. But as far as what I wanted to say, it was right before the pandemic. So it was weird how true it became and what a new meaning it took on just a couple of months later.
Danny Elfman's a big inspiration for you. What's your favorite Oingo Boingo song?
Oh, I don't know.
Stay is the only one we play.
It's so funny because as much as that's what you'd assume I'm like back in high school, whatever, listening to that, I was blasting all his score music. It was like, you're going to hang out in my car? Then we're listening to Edward Scissorhands, start to finish.
Well, all right. I know you guys love to do a cover or two, and you do a mean cover of AC/DC's Highway to Hell. Before your shows here, is there any Aussie songs you want to be pulling out that we can expect?
What you said is really fun, but not true. Really? I love that. Should we pull that together?
Hell yeah, mate. It's not hard.
So
maybe.
Funny. Yeah. I don't know. We did the Chain.
Mate, that
awesome.
was for Gears 5. That was
a good one. That was fun to do. And we've actually never played it live. We rehearsed it like we were going to years ago, and then it was like long story.
It sounds like it fit really well in a set though. Like,
I think so. Do you think people would like that?
I reckon.
Okay.
I know it's very good. I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll pull it out sometime.
All right. Before we let you go. Is there anything that you really have to do in Brisbane before you guys bugger off to go to your next
That's
city?
an Emma question. What do we need to do, Emma?
Well, it sounds a little boring, but eat a meat pie probably.
Yatala Pie's down the road down here has really good ones. Yeah.
I'm in.
All right, Emma, Amy, thank you so much for coming in and having a chat to Triple M.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
For all the latest rock news, interviews and backstage experiences, don't forget to subscribe to Triple M Rock on the Listener app.